Hello, lovely people. Always happy to be here. This is another episode of Backstage with Fred. I'm still at the Umbraco US Festival. It's beautiful in Chicago, so we're doing that interview outside. And I am with Angela. How are you?
Good.
I'm good. So tell me, or tell people that are listening to the show, who are you?
So I'm Angela Wolak. I am partner and design director at Durable Digital. We're a digital agency. We do a lot of Umbraco work, and we're based out of Washington, D.C., London, New York. And yeah.
Sounds good. So as I said, we're at the Umbraco US Festival, so it's all about the Umbraco CMS. You gave a talk yesterday. It was targeted to Umbraco, but it was about design. So can you tell us a little more about what was your talk?
Yeah, so I think like one of the things, like when I go to Umbraco events, a lot of the content is really focused on developers. And for me, there's this whole side of creating this, we call it the back office experience. So that's what the editor who's actually building out these web pages, what their experience is. And I think that we've kind of not been including designers in that conversation and just kind of maybe hoping that developers will do it. And so, yeah, I just wanted to kind of get people thinking in the direction of, okay, designers are the experts in user experience, and how do we bring them into kind of thinking about this other side of the user experience? We have the public-facing site, and but we have these internal users that are very important as well.
No, I agree, and I think it's a dangerous thing to just let design to developers. Like I'm a developer myself, and I understand with all the years I understood that like design is important because you can have the best product functionality wise, but if the design is not nice, if the UI is not, if the user experience is not great, people won't use your software. People will go and use something else. So I think it's important to have someone like you like remember us that like, hey, like you're doing a great job, but there's something important about design. So I was wondering, like, as an expert on that topic, which I'm not at all, but you are, can you tell us a little more, like what should we think about when we design, like either Umbraco, like using the Umbraco CMS, or any other like type of websites or application? Like, what are the crucial things we need to think about?
Yeah, so I think like what my talk really focused on was kind of a lot of like basic configuration stuff. These are just like details that can fall through the cracks if people aren't looking after them. I actually do think a lot of, this is maybe controversial, I don't know, I think a lot of developers can kind of create a good user experience if they're focused on that. It's just that they're not asked to do it. They're doing tickets to kind of get tasks done, and that whole user experience as kind of a holistic thing, it's not part of that work. And I mean, I think it's not fair to just expect they would do that on top. So there's the part of like actually like how many steps does it take to do something? Is this like enjoyable to complete these tasks? And then like you said, there's the visual side, which I think is much kind of more squarely on that designer side, in terms of like what does it look like? Does it feel simple, easy to use, that kind of thing? Yeah.
No, it makes sense. And I think it's important to include that, like for developers when we're building things. There's a lot of things that are set aside, and I include myself as a developer. As you said, like we're focused on like, hey, we need to create that functionality, we need to fix that bug, and quite often things like design are set aside, or accessibility, or like all the other things that are important, but quite often they're an afterthought. So I assume like with design, it's the same thing. Like if you include like having a great design, a great user experience right when you're building whatever you're building, like that's going to like end up with better results and probably faster results too.
Yeah, I think it's about building it into the process. I think sometimes, you're focused on the front end of the site. That's what the client's signing off on, the design for that. Then you're focused on how do we build it. But that kind of middle layer of the experience of editing it often gets forgotten. So like my talk was about, how do you, write requirements for this? How do you fit that into your process? So it's not an afterthought, and it's kind of baked into how you build everything. Because ultimately, like even if the code of the site is really solid, the front end is really solid, it looks great. If your editors are going in and they're like really unhappy, and it's taking too long for them to like build pages or edit content, like ultimately your client's not going to be happy with that website or that product. And so, long term, that's going to hurt you that you didn't pay attention to that kind of thing.
Yeah, it makes sense. And you probably already answered my question, but just in case you have any other tips. So as a developer myself, I know you said like, hey, most developers should be good, or they are good at like building great designs, but they just don't think about it. In my case, I can assure you, I'm really not good about building great designs. I'm good about the functionality. I try to give the user a great experience, but it's an ugly, great experience. So is there any last tips that you would like to share with especially developers or anyone building either, again, with Umbraco, CMS, or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, there's certainly a lot of articles. Like, if you wanted to improve, there's a lot of great articles. I think there's like the 24 Days series every year. Umbraco puts out articles.
Oh, nice.
And so if you want to go into that area of thinking more about the experience, there's resources. But if that's like, okay, I'm going to draw a line here, just bring your designers in. Like, it's going to be easy for them to do it. And everybody's going to save time. It's going to be a better result. So it's more just about thinking, okay, this is something we need to consider. Let's have the designer come in and create some nice thumbnails and check that this experience makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with that, because I'm really self-aware about my limitation, and I don't think that would be a good use of my time to try to be better at design, because I think I'm just a desperate cause of this. But like being part of a team, like partnering with design and including them, like they're not the enemy, folks. They're here to help us to create like great user experience. So great advice, love it. Thanks for your time. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I wish you a good rest of Umbraco US Festival.
Thank you. It was great talking to you.
My pleasure. Bye, folks.
Bye.